Good morning, everybody from Hotelier Academy. I wish you to have a great week. We are in the middle, almost at the end of March, and we are really glad that we have thousands of hoteliers in our company every day that are watching our webinars and they're sharing their ideas with us and their feedback about the great things that our speakers share with our audience. I'm Nikos Morandis. I am one of the two co-founders of Hotelier Academy. And let me explain you a few words about Hotelier Academy. If you don't know us, Hotelier Academy is an educational blog for hoteliers. And what we do is to create free articles, free content with tips, with ideas, with case studies about the hotel industry. And our mission is to help you to improve your properties. As the hotel industry is a very demanding field and we need new information about the evolutions of the industry, we try to cover all these new things that come up and to help you to keep up with and be updated. So last March, we created this event with the free webinars. We started with Greece and with our Greek audience. And now, a year after the first event, we decided to launch the international edition as well. So as far as now, we have completed more than 25 webinars this month. Most of them are in Greek, but we have around 10 to 12 webinars that will be in English with international speakers. So the content that you will watch today is for a hotelier that is located everywhere in the planet. And we are really glad that we have in our company hoteliers from Italy, from Germany, from Thailand, from Indonesia. So thank you for making this event a real international event. Today, our topic is a very hot one because it is about direct bookings and it is about the COVID situation. So we are really honored to have with us Christian from the vertical booking company in the group of Zucchetti, that we will analyze what's the new trends about direct bookings and what we can do so as to not just to survive, but to develop our bookings during the COVID era. So, Christian, welcome to Hotelier Academy.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you everyone for joining the webinar today. Let me just share my screen. Okay, so that should be okay now. So now today, I will be talking about the, let's say, about distribution strategies and what we can do to improve our position in the market in this particular situation and in the future. I would like to say, obviously, a few words about myself. I've been working in the industry for about 20 years now. The most significant experiences that I've been living during my career has been being account manager for a UK-based GDS company. I've been working as a director of revenue and distribution for a small local hotel chain in Italy, where, by the way, I was a vertical booking customer myself at that time. I've been working now in vertical booking for 6 years. The first 3 years, I was a key account manager for the most important chains and groups that we have, and GDS business director. And since 2018, I'm the chief operating officer of the company. So I'm in charge of all the operations, developments, development strategies, client services, and sales coordination for the international markets. A few words about Vertical Booking as a company. Vertical Booking is an Italian-based company with clients in about more than 100 countries around the world, from Asia to Europe to North America. The platform that Vertical Booking is offering is a full CRS solution. So it's not just a channel manager to booking engine. It's a complete center reservation system with one single engine, allowing the hotels to distribute their inventory rates in real time on the proper hotel website, on the channels we are directly connecting to, and also to the GDS where we have a direct connectivity. So it's a complete distribution platform that covers all the distribution, even offline, for the properties. Now, regarding the points that we look at, mainly why can the COVID-19 situation be a chance? I will then talk about the distribution strategies that we can or should adopt in the future. And the second main point is technology, because without the right solutions, we will never be able to put in place the strategies that we may have in mind. And at the end, I will be available for any question that you may have. And I would like to collect the questions at the end of the presentation. That's fine with everyone. So let's start. So why would we say that this is an opportunity, the situation? Before COVID, we often were used to do things. We were working in a certain way. It went quite well. We probably often haven't really felt the need to look around, to involve, to question our own strategies, our own behavior. Now we're in a situation where we are often in big difficulties. So we have to check, we have to reflect, we have to analyze what can we do to improve. And that's not only for the emergency now, but we should look at that as the new normal, because the COVID disruption that we are now living will probably not be the last one. So we didn't expect it, but now we have to expect that there might be others. So we should always look at the future with the perspective that we will have to be very flexible, very reactive to adapt to new situations. And that's why I say it's opportunity. We didn't expect it. We just came into that obviously without wanting it, without expecting that. But that, as I said, gives us the chance to question our own strategies, our own especially distribution strategies. So apart from the COVID-19, we should look at that, always questioning, trying to improve. Even if you're doing well, we will always need to be ready to adapt very quickly. And that is where I say is the chance. And this is not only about the distribution itself. In a certain way, in none of the things that we were used to do, we will go back to the normal we had before. Look at all the conferences that are done online and not on spot any longer, and that it will stay in a certain way. Many people are working from home, so that changes our lives, and especially in the hospitality, that will remain, and we will have to adapt and think how we can be ready to manage other changes that might come. And the most, or how to say, yeah, the wrongest thing that we could do, stay there waiting, hoping that things come back and saying we have always been doing like this in a certain way, it will work. I remember when I was working in a hotel, I had discussions with people about adapting or changing strategies even 10 years ago, when some people in the company were saying, yeah, but we have always been doing like this. And I said, yeah, you have been always doing things in the wrong way. So that's not an argument. We should always question and try to improve our strategies. And that's why I say that the current situation, it's like a big wake up, where we can get aware of change approach and be more attentive in what we are going to do in terms of selling our properties, our solution. So in the short term, so right now that we are still in the emergency, with the pandemic still spreading around, vaccinations in many countries coming late, we obviously have to put in place measures. As I say here, safety first. That's probably one of the biggest concerns that people, even if they are willing to travel, that they still have. So they are looking very, very closely on what the properties do to guarantee health and security in the properties. So the first thing is obviously, that's not that much about distribution, but it's to put in place practices that will keep safe and healthy the customers, whatever that is. All I mean, there are guidelines for the practices, but the important thing is that this is put in place on the properties. And then coming to distribution, the second thing is we have to tell it. We have to make sure that the customers know that we have put all these measures in place, starting from our own website, from our booking engine, but also the channels where we are selling on. We have to make sure that this is communicated, because this is really a thing people are currently looking at. And COVID-19 will probably not disappear completely, but even if it does, we have been having other diseases in the past that haven't had that huge impact, but people are much more concerned about that, not only now, but they will in the future. So these aspects will stay very important in the future as well. And the other thing that's not that much about distribution, but the technology and the contactless, and this is also part of the measures that should be taken. So allow online check-in, check-out, payments, everything without the human touch, to guarantee a higher safety for our customers. So that's the things that we should look at right now in the emergency, but we should keep that in mind also in the future, and that will change the behavior and the technology that we will be using. Now, in terms of distribution strategies, it's probably not completely new, but whilst before we may have been doing well without certain things, now that the demand is quite low, competition is quite high, it really becomes important to diversify our distribution in order to capture all the possible demand for our properties, not just relying on the things that we have doing before. So there are three main points I would say. One is about the channels. We should not depend on the single or only a few OTAs, first of all, we would lose opportunities. And even if in the past we may have said, okay, we get only a few bookings from certain channels, we concentrate on the few ones, we would still lose opportunities. And if we rely on only a few OTAs or connectivity partners, we can get quite exposed if something goes wrong. And we may have not been happy with certain OTAs, how they behaved last year when the cancellations came and things like on. But in the end, it's the customers that choose the booking channel. And there is an example, for example, from South America, where we had properties or certain markets that were relying on the more specific South American OTA, trying to get kind of rid of the bigger global OTAs, and then that OTA did the opposite of other OTAs, so protecting the properties more than the customers. And now there is a big how can I say, there is a big action from the client side on social networks, saying not to go through that channel because the customer in that case was penalized. So they're very different situations. So we have to make sure that we try to be as diversified as we can on the channels. The same is valid for the type of channel. So not only rely on OTAs, but also looking at other kind of channels, tour operators, wholesaler, to have a kind of a balance between the different types. And the other thing is with regards to the customers. This should be clear, but we have seen that, or I've seen that in different markets where apparently it was not that clear, where properties were quite relying on single markets. And when that market falls short, then it's a huge problem. We had that situation in certain areas in Italy 8 years ago, where the Russian market was very, very strong, good paying customers, and part of the properties, they were relying on that market. And then when the Russian currency lost 70 or 80% of the value, and Russia as a nation started to say people should stay in Russia, spend holidays there, the market completely broke down, and those properties were not prepared to recover for at least for a year. In Turkey, we had cases where they were relying on German customers that at a certain point wouldn't have been gone there any longer. So it's very important here as well, not to rely too much on a single markets. So what we need to do is to look for new opportunities to diversify our distribution. So how do we do that? So what we should consider, for example, as I said, is the customer origin. Right now, in short term, when we look at vaccinations, we have certain countries where these vaccinations are going much faster than in others, like Israel or even the UK, much better than other big countries. So these may be the first international travelers that are allowed to travel again. So we should look, for example, at that, trying to capture those markets where we know that they will be able to move earlier than other countries. But also mid and long term, we should look at where the customers come from with regard to the channel where we distribute them. Each country has its specific holiday periods. So we can look at, okay, Germans are traveling more in also outside the peak season. Other countries, they have their main holiday season in July, others in August, and trying to capture all these different markets in order to how can I say, to have the whole season or the whole year distributed to where the demand is coming from. And we should also look at new markets we may have not been looking at before, because as I said, at a certain point when things were looking quite fine, going well, we may have not felt the need to look at others, but that's a thing that we should do, diversify also in the market. Asia, for example, is a big market. Obviously, it requires, apart from connecting to channels that can bring people from Asia to the properties, we also obviously have to look at what are the requirements for those customers. Are we ready to, for example, to have people from China that are looking, or that are in terms of, for example, breakfast need, things that we usually wouldn't offer to European customers and things like that. But that's something we should start looking at. So diversifying the markets, and that's goes together with the seasonality. So looking what are the main periods certain markets are booking at in order to cover the whole year. Another thing is what I would call the liability when it comes to channels. So looking at how many cancellations we get, because there may be channels where we have high cancellation. That's not really, how can I say, not a big liability, whilst other, even with less volumes, we see that we only have a few cancellations. Payments are managed, I don't know, not on a property, but centrally. That can also be an advantage because we don't have to care about potential penalties in case of no-show cancellation. So here we also should look at having a good mix between the different types of channels and way they behave, in order to not depend here as well on a single way of working, with the risk to fall short at a certain point. Obviously, we also have to look at the costs of our distribution. Now in the current situation, it's certainly the main focus is to get bookings. So it's the cost is probably not our main concern, the distribution cost, our main concern right now. But what I'm trying to say, what we are looking at is not just to, let's say, solve or the current COVID-19 situation, but the strategies that we need to adopt shall be midterm. And at a certain point, the cost effectiveness of distribution is important. Which doesn't mean that I can't work with more extensive channels if they are very reliable in terms of payments, payment terms, or no cancellations. If they push our, let's say, low season, or where we have lower occupancy, then that's absolutely fine if the distribution cost is higher. And then and we will, or I will come back to this point later. The management of the different channels, conditions, what to give to the different channels, how to manage our inventory, and so on. That shall be the technology part, allowing you to specifically manage your inventory availability conditions based on your needs through the system that you're using. New channel models, that's another thing we should look at. There have been of the let's say especially of the the issues that the hoteliers had with certain big ATAs. There have been let's say new channels coming up with different business models that are trying to balance the power of the biggest OTAs with different, as I said, business models or connectivity models. And here as well, we should look at other distribution partners with innovative business models, and there are quite a lot of initiatives around there. Obviously, it's never sure if they will really work and have a big success, but it's worth looking at those as well. And GDS, it might sound very strange talking about GDS now, but I can tell you I've been working in a GDS representation company 15 years ago, and everyone was saying they will die anyway with the OTAs coming up. But this has never happened. GDS has always been, even in recent years, a very, very important channel. For sure, it's mainly a business channel, and at the moment, obviously, there is not that much business travel, if I can say. So it's a difficult situation, but still, it should be a channel that certain properties, obviously based on the requirements for the GDS, you should start looking at. And the distribution costs here, they are much lower than they were 10, 15 years ago. So that is an opportunity also where maybe not today, but in midterm strategy, each property should look at, see if there is an opportunity. And I said it's mainly about business, but not only. So also for leisure properties, there are opportunities that can be reached through the GDS and only GDS, because it's a very close channel. So if you don't look at that opportunity, you might completely lose it. It's not how can I say, replaceable by any other channel. And how do we do what I've been saying about what we should look at? First of all, each property should look at their own data they have about the historical data about what the channels have been producing, where the customers are coming from, what the liability of the channel is. But then, of course, you should talk to your provider, to your connectivity channel manager, or to your connectivity provider. Like we others, well, we are connecting to quite a lot of channels, so we have a bigger picture of where the customers come from, what the potential is. So you should talk to your provider, see what they see, where opportunities are, which channel may produce on your location where the customers come from. So it's and that's why I will come to technology and the provider in the second part. It's very important that there is that discussion, that exchange of experience, expertise, and suggestions between the property and the provider. So, and that's a very important point. And here I'm talking in a certain way to myself. There is lots of information and that can be shared with the properties in order to help the properties to achieve that diversification of the distribution I've been talking about. Then okay, then when I talk about distribution, often distribution, we look at the channels, at the connectivities, but it's the same importance, even more, is for our direct sales. It's not the main focus of the webinar here, but we as I said, it's part of our whole distribution strategy. And what we have been seeing over the last year is that the direct sales are growing in terms of share between the OTAs or wholesalers and our website booking booking sales. And why that? Probably because people want to have more detailed information about the situation, the safety measures that the hotels is putting in place, where it's located, because obviously in the first a moment when customers look at where to stay, they need to be sure that everything is secure. They're looking at probably bigger spaces. They don't want to stay in an overcrowded place and things like that. And that's information that you can retrieve much more detailed way on the hotel website, on the hotel booking engine. And in terms of selling strategies, there's much more flexibility or possibilities that you have on your direct on your website, on the booking engine, to offer different solutions to the customers. So that's another chance in a certain way to increase that part of the bookings. And in order to do so, and that's the reason why I'm mentioning that, in order to do so, you have to have a booking engine that drives conversion. It's not just about a button book, a few solutions and go. You need to have something that really converts, something that interacts with the customer to really bring him to finalize the booking on the booking engine. So it's as I said, some what I call direct messaging, like a comparison with the OTA, the guest store, some additional information about the advantages you can offer, customized offers that you can propose, any kind of upselling of rooms or additional services, recovery. So interact with the customer if after a few minutes the booking hasn't been finalized, trying to interact to keep them play with the policies, alternative things. So you need to have in that, and I will come back on that in the technology part, a real what I call a enhanced booking engine that allows you to do that. And obviously this part has its cost, but you have to look at as an investment, because it's not a huge cost, but it's really worth looking at a system that allows you to really convert on your own website. Next point, what I would call, it's just to mention it. I don't want to go into details. That I call that indirect direct sales, because it's in the end the booking should be completed on their own booking engine, but it's going through the meta search, and especially Google. Google is getting more and more important. Their role in the hotel distribution will certainly grow over the years. They know that they have potential. They are investing, and you will probably have been seeing that in recent years. They have been doing quite important changes. So that's certainly a let's say a channel you really should be looking at. Important here is that you monitor the performance you have, because the business model is quite different from other channels, and it's also suggested to use a consultant or consultancy company, especially in the beginning, if you're not familiar with how to manage your campaigns, how to allocate your budget, how to generally manage that channel. So use consultancy services is more than the right thing to do. And another thing, digital marketing, especially now that the demand is still quite low compared to before, even it's slowly growing, it's certainly important to capture that kind of demand. So it is suggested as well here to look at some digital marketing activities. That's another thing that probably not many properties have the internal resources. So here as well, there are consultancy companies or consultants that can help you to have the right strategy on the digital marketing in order to capture that slowly growing demand that we have in the moment and in the future. Then one other important thing, what I call demand data. In the past, usually or often, hotels were looking at the historical data, seeing how did we perform last year and 2 years ago, 3 years ago, compared to this year, to see where we stand, what we can do, what we can adapt. Now, as you all understand, historical data is now kind of useless, because I can't compare 2020 to 2019. I can't compare 2021 to 2020. So what is really important now, but it will stay important in the future, because the dynamics have changed, and we will, even if we go back to a kind of more stable situation, it will be very how can I say, difficult to rely only on historical data. So what we should look at, and there are companies that started doing that even before the COVID came, so like of anticipation of what happened later, is to look at the real demand that we have, meaning to look at what are the requests that we are getting for the future, to see if we have lots of demand in a certain period, what we can we do, how can we capture that. and not only looking on our own property, but possibly also on our location. So basically, for our own property, the data about especially the requests that we get from our website, from our booking engine, that's something each property should be able to look at and adapt the strategy according to what we see in terms of real demand for certain services. But there are always also companies or providers that can aggregate the data of certain locations to give you a picture of what is the real demand on the destination for the future, and based on that you can see when it is. You can say for what kind of stay, short stay, long stay. You could see where the demand is coming from, and you can see how it converts and adapts to that. So you could see that there is demand from a certain country you have never really been working at. That is an input where you could say, okay, I'm getting requests, let's say from Spain, never really have seen Spanish people here. What am I missing? How can I get those demand converted into bookings into my properties? So that demand data is becoming more and more important in order to allow us, the properties, to react in real time in a certain way, anticipate the competitors. And another step in our distribution strategy could be a revenue management system, if it is looking at the data, as I said before, not that much about historical data, which in this period we probably can kind of throw away, but which is really looking at the future demand, combining it with flights and all that kind of stuff. Now, coming to the technology, as I said in the beginning, it is really important to have the right technology if we want to put in place a different distribution strategy today. So when we look at our technology partners or providers, we should look mainly at the reliability of the partner. So if it's a established company with a high technology standard, strong client support, just to mention a few. Flexibility mainly in terms of functionalities. So how can I put in place all the different strategies for the different markets, for the different channels, for the different type of channels that I want to put in place. Customization means not just an out of the factory solution, but a solution that can be customized in terms of use to the specific situation of my property, from a small business to a big leisure property. So a customized solution that meets the needs of very different situations, and expertise, so meaning knowledge about what the trends are, having data about the channels that may help a property, seeing the trends in terms of what I said before, for example, the direct bookings that have been growing in terms of share compared to the OTAs, having or being able to provide to the properties data such as demand data I was talking before, giving a kind of consultancy or sharing the knowledge in order to help the properties. Coming to the channel distribution, as I said, reliability is certainly very important. The right connectivities, meaning that the partner should have a big number of channels to connect to, especially obviously for each single or local market, should be very open to new connectivities where they are required. And when I say connectivity partnerships, there should be from the side of the provider also a strong relationship with the connectivity partners, meaning that the interface is always up to date, because you probably know often there are changes, additional things that are delivered or in the interface. So someone that stays always up to date with that technical part of the interface in order to providing all the full opportunities to the customers. Just an example, like the promotions that certain OTAs allow to set, being able, for example, to manage that directly from the CRS, from the channel manager, instead of going to each single single OTA extranet. This is also part of the let's say of providing a full service of what is possible in terms of interfaces, and as I said before, the expertise to help the hoteliers when in choosing new connectivities. In terms of functionalities, that's what I was seeing before here. I mean the functionalities in order to have always the full control, not just sending out the same things to anyone, but being able to apply a different strategy based on a type of partner, on the seasonality, on the cost. So decide when to give what to who, which may be having the possibility to manage the availability by channel, the possibility to group into categories by rate or channel, so with limitations in terms of inventory or certain rules they want to apply. And ideally even some automated rules that help you based on the parameters that you set and based on the occupancy that you have, automate certain rules where you say at a certain point, certain level of occupancy, I want, just to give an example, I want to close out or put the stronger restrictions on the channels that are most cost extensive. If there was a way to have that in a certain way automated would also help that differentiation in the distribution that I would suggest you do. Coming to the website booking engine, basically here in terms of technology, it's what I said before. It should be a real conversion driven booking engine, which I would call interactive. As I said before, don't let the customer alone, guide him through the booking process, interact with some pop-up messages, some special offers, some guidelines to push him through to finalize the booking. Also mentioning very briefly the Zero, which could also be an integrated module connected where you can manage your offline traffic in the same straightforward way like the booking engine without any additional settings, if that's available. Talking about functionalities, what I mean here, in addition to the interaction on the user experience front and side, back office functionalities that help you to customize and differentiate the offer and rates that you want to propose to the customers. So the flexible rate management, meaning that you can have, for example, multiple derivations by period on different levels, a very detailed discount management, and easy package management. Geolocalization, so you could offer different offers per market based on where the customer is coming from. Multi-currency has also been very much requested in certain markets where you want to make a differentiation between the local market, local currency, and foreign markets in international currencies. I'm also mentioning, for example, just a few examples, refund voucher, where you can automatically transform a cancelled stay into a refund, into a voucher, instead of having to refund, for example. So that's about the technology and the functionalities that you should look at also when choosing the platform that you use for your distribution. And last quick point, integrations with other systems. This is also an important thing to look at, because once you, for example, in terms of PMS, once you get the bookings and information from the channel, you have to be sure that all the information that the channel is providing comes down to the PMS, like the market the customer is coming from. So having good integrations with the other systems like the PMS, RMS, or payment processes is another important thing in order to make the whole strategy work, and not making it in a certain way stop because of some lack of good integration with additional systems that you are using. So basically, just to reassume what the main points are, is that the distribution needs more full attention with continued updates, as I said, diversification, and in order to do so, you will have to have a strong technology partner that supports the strategy that you want to put in place.
So, Christian, thank you very much for your great presentation. It's always very helpful to see all the steps that we should follow on the online strategy of our hotels. And that's something that I have to mention to our audience, is that every speaker that speaks about the online distribution of the hotels, they refer about the RMS systems, that it's almost a vital thing now, so as to decide the price strategy. Correct, Christian? Is it a new thing that it's very, very important now for to have a successful strategy for our hotels?
Yeah, indeed, it is very important because it obviously it automizes in a certain way the price suggestions. What is important here, and that was what I was trying to say. There are lots of RMS systems in recent year. There have been lots of them have been coming up. What is important here is to look how do they use the data. Which data are they using to give you the suggestion? So if you look mainly at the older ones, at historical data, you won't go that far. They have to look at the demand data and being, how can I say, and having data about the destination, the demand that is coming to a certain destination, as I said, maybe integrating even with information about the flights that are coming in, and all these kind of parameters is something that a single property can't have. So even if the price suggestion doesn't need to be automatic, so there can always be the manual, the human decision if I want to accept that. But at least you have in the first place, you have all that data combined. You can look at that and you have a clearer idea on what really demand is and where you should go. So it's certainly correct that that's a very important a thing that that properties should look at.
Okay, great. So I'm looking at your website at Vertical Booking, and I have to refer two things. Can you share your website, because I have two questions to make you the Vertical Booking, because it's important. It's the first time that I'm seeing something like that in a website booking engine. Let explain to our audience that Vertical Booking is a technology company for hotels that provides booking engine, channel manager, and all what you need about your hotel distribution. But I found something very, very interesting at your website. Can you share it, the website, please?
Yeah, just a second.
There are two things that are very interesting. One thing is that I can see in the Vertical Booking website that there is a different approach to hotels and hotel chains, correct? You have specialized solution for hotel chains at the Vertical Booking. What are the differences?
I mean, there is, first of all, is there a specific page I should look at? Solutions for chains, hotels. Do you see my screen? Right, you do, right?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. Basically, I mean, there are two things. One is for in terms of functionalities in the back office. Obviously, like ourselves, we started with independent properties, so you have your settings for each single properties. When it comes to groups and chains, obviously, for example, you would like to launch a promotion on all your 10, 20 or 300 properties, and you don't want to have to do that 20, 30 or 200 times. So in a vertical booking CRS, you have the possibility to create promotions or discounts on chain level just once, and then
Okay.
apply that to the properties that you want to include and that kind of promotion.
That's
So it's a
very interesting. For example, as we have many people from Greece as well and Italy, that there are small chains that one owner has 3 hotels or something like that. Does it fit also at this situation?
yes, of course, it can be 3 properties like it can be 300. But
Okay.
even, I mean, especially when it's maybe one owner has to manage 3 properties, then you have to look at the distribution. You have to look at new opportunities. You have to do whatever you need to do. The time you have is not that much. So even if it's 3 properties, if you can create a promotion just once and apply it to all properties, that certainly helps to make things faster. And you have the same, let's say, the same strategy and the same standards on all the properties. So that fits also to smaller properties, smaller groups.
Perfect. And also at your website, I can see on the right side that you say reservation through the system yesterday, 7 million. Is that correct, what I see?
Yes, exactly.
So you give an indication to hoteliers about the revenue that it has been produced, and also you have a year to today, a comparison with the last years. So during vertical booking, I guess, this is the statistics for your 6,800 hotels, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we can see that you have a reduction of 26% of direct bookings.
Yes, which probably is not that bad looking at last year, where January and February were prior to COVID-19, so that were normal month, and then it started dropping down. But that is an indicator. I mean, we have the general data over the weeks, but that is an indicator. Whilst, for example, last year in certain periods, the transactions that were coming in or performed on our platform were minus 50, minus 60% in many periods. Now having it at minus 26 this year is a sign that the demand is slowly growing. And that was,
and it's moving to direct bookings as well, because this is 26% from the booking engine. And the last year we have a transfer from OTAs, from B2B to booking engines. Do you provide this data to each hotelier for his property, his or her property? If I use vertical booking, do I have these statistics dynamically for my hotel?
Yeah, I mean, you have a complete. I mean, already on the dashboard. So basically, when you enter the system, you will immediately see your performance in per month, per year to date, by segment. You have the comparison, and you also, what I said, you have the data about let's say what the demand is, not only the reservations that have been made, but for the booking engine, you have all the data about the requests that have been done on the booking engine, even if they haven't been concluded. So you can see what has been searched for, where it comes from. So you're based on the IP, you can see if it's customers from Switzerland, from the US, from UK, and that's the data I was saying is important to use when you look at your strategy, and that's available for the single properties. Then we have some aggregated data based on locations, but already on the single property you have all these data.
So you have 107 countries, hotels in 107 countries.
Yes.
Is there customer service 24/7, something like that? Because, you know, when we want to select a booking engine or a solution like yours so that it's more realistic, our question is, would I have the support I need? How does your company works? Because for me, it's crucial.
I mean, mainly, let's say the standard support times are the European daytime from 8 in the morning to 10 o'clock in the evening.
Okay.
We haven't had, let's say, for single properties, or we haven't so far had the need to have a support.
But you do have a very wide range, and especially for European, it's okay. It's like your
8-22, and I mean for emergencies, we are always available. So usually
so it's perfect. 8 to 22, Christian, is perfect. I don't think that we need more than this. It's the most of the time.
Yeah.
Especially if a hotel is located in Italy, in Spain, in Greece, in Germany. So for the European audience, it's perfect.
Then we also have, if I can add, we also have offices in the US. They are covering North and Central America, and obviously they're in their time zone. So potentially, if you need someone at 4 o'clock in the morning European time, you could reach out to our colleagues in the US, which is daytime for them.
That's perfect.
And we also have someone over in Asia to cover the Asian time zone, APEC.
Perfect.
Pacific.
And what about you referred that you have 42,000 properties connected to DMS. I cannot clearly understand, but please, if you can help me.
That's a destination management system. So basically, that is used by, as I said, by destination. So it can be a region that has a port, a website where they propose any kind of service. It can be, for example, I don't know, one of the regions here in Italy, Val d'Aosta. They have their website where they propose all the services like tickets to enter the museums, ski passes, and all that kind of tourism activity in the region. And on that website, you can also book the properties. And the system they're using there, it's not the let's say the hotel booking engine for groups and chains, but it's made for the destination. So it's another how can I say, it's another another module thought to be used by destinations mainly.
Great, perfect. Christian, I'm really excited that I watched your presentation because it gave me a lot of information to think and very practical advice how we can improve our hotel's sales strategy. I really, to be honest, liked your brand because you offer an holistic approach, and I really love it because you cover all the levels. And my question about the customer service is because I think that an international brand like yours, it's very important to provide this for us. For example, that I'm located in Athens. If I had my own hotel, I would like to have a direct access, and I'm very happy that you provide that. So thank you very, very much for being here with us today. I would advise our audience, if they want more information, they can contact directly with Vertical Booking and check about their solutions. They also have a very good consulting department, correct? Is that correct, Christian? They have a consulting department about increase of revenue?
Yeah, exactly. And then, I mean, we are part of Zucchetti Group, as you can see in the background. So we have different companies, and one of my my colleagues, my cousins from one of the other companies, I think he had a webinar last week. So we are combining forces. So they are specialized, for example, more in digital marketing, but these services are can be offered in combination with vertical booking. In terms of channel management, for example, we are preferred or premium partners with the biggest OTAs. We are connected to more than 400 channels. So we have lots of information that we are happy to share with our customers. And we know that we need to do that in order to help the hoteliers to know where they should go or where they can go.
Perfect. So thank you, Christian. Thank you, everybody, for being today with us at Hotelier Academy. And I will see you in the evening on the webinar that we're planning about hotel guest experience. Thank you, Christian.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.